Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Strat Gamer here, running with a new Anno 1800 episode, and today we're going to talk about the Panorama Effect. I'm going to try to explain to you what is the Panorama Effect, how you can calculate it on your side and all those type of things, sort of a tutorial on it, but I'm also going to show you what I think is the best, let's say, layout if you want to maximize that panorama effect in your cities. I'll show you a bit of that in practice and the details and the calculation. So these are the big two parts in this video. Before we dive in, I've also just released another video that is sort of my assessment, my review of this DLC. So if you haven't bought this DLC yet, or even if you've bought it but maybe haven't fully dived into it, don't hesitate to check that out. And lastly, I will release very soon another video around the best items of this new DLC and where to use them, in what context, all those type of things. So do stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I think this is the perfect opportunity to subscribe so you never miss those new videos. I'm also trying to stream more and more on YouTube. So don't hesitate to subscribe so you get potentially notification for those streams. And you can, of course, see those streams on my page. I always try to give a bit of notice on when they appear. And of course, you can watch the recordings later on for these. So anyway, let's dive in. As always, don't hesitate to share any of your thoughts, feedback, suggestions that you may have in the comments below. And otherwise, let's hope that you do like this episode. So first of all, in terms of the panorama effect, this is what you can see here. You may, in the first time you have a skyscraper, you may be wondering what this is. And when you get to skyscraper, you can see it's level on the right side, and then on the left side, the panorama effect with a small description and also the calculation. Now, the great thing about that was introduced in Season 3 is if you click here on the tutorial panel, they have actually given a bit of details, and there are 3 pages for the panorama effect. So let's start a bit there. The panorama effect, to make it very simple, is how great is the view from your skyscraper. If you buy one of the apartments at the top of the skyscraper, are you happy? Do you have a great view, or do you have a bad view because you have other skyscrapers that are the same sort of height or even taller than you, and therefore you're very unhappy? If you do have a great panorama effect, you actually increase the population in the skyscrapers. I'm not really sure how that works. I guess it may mean something like more people want to move in, and therefore there's lower empty apartments or something like this. But anyway, in effect, in the gameplay, it increases your population, and we're gonna see by how much, and if that's interesting. And here you can say it says it reduces its maintenance cost. I think this is, to be honest, sort of a small bug, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's because during the technical test, it was actually reducing the maintenance cost, but now in the final release, it's not decreasing the maintenance cost, it's increasing the revenue of the let's say building. So in effect, it indeed does the same thing, right? Like increasing revenue or decreasing cost will have the same effect on your profits in this case, but it is indeed not on the maintenance cost, but on the income. And it actually does have a big impact. Is you only get income if you give resources, right? If you fulfill those needs, right? If I don't fulfill, for example, champagne, as you can see, it says 62 coins won't be provided. So of course I'm not going to get additional income on this 62 if I'm not giving it to it, versus the reduction of the maintenance actually would work even if you don't give those resources. So that is, at the beginning I was saying, you know, this is basically the same. It's not exactly the same, but almost. Now, something quite important about the panorama effect is that there's 5 levels, or let's say even 6, because let's say level 0 is no panorama effect at all, then level 1 is weak, 2 is moderate, 3 decent, 4 is strong, and 5 is intense. So of course you're gonna want to try to go to intense to get some bonuses. The good thing is that if you don't have any panorama effect, let's say you are basically at level 0, you don't get punished for it, right? So if we look here, we have no panorama effect. We don't get a malus of some sort, like the happiness is not going down, money is not going down. It's just we don't get the bonuses in. So it is some sort of malus, but it's not. You know, it's let's say normal. So that was the first thing. You understand that what is panorama about is what you have around in terms of skyscrapers. It increases your population and increase your revenues, not your maintenance cost. It has 5 levels, and if you're at level 0, it's not a problem. You don't get maluses. Then what's something that many of you may have missed is actually there is a radius that changes depending on the level of the skyscraper. Meaning when you have a level 1 skyscraper, it will only look at those 4. So the one very, very close to it. And it's sort of a circle that you don't see, but it's there. Versus when you move to level 2, the circle gets a bit larger. Here it's a road, right? So that's why those two here are not in the circle. And then level 3, it goes even, the radius is even bigger, etc., etc. And to level 5, you can see it's quite big. And we're talking about 5 by 2 plus those 3 here. So that's quite a bit. What is also important is that the let's say for the calculation, and maybe let's move to the actual calculation, is it only takes into account other skyscrapers. So if you have a normal residence like this one, this is your normal investor, it doesn't count. It doesn't give a bonuses or a malus. This is the same if you have, a warehouse, fire station, or even just nothing, right? If you're at the end of your map, for example, it's not like it's going to give you a malus or a bonus. What does give you bonuses or maluses is other skyscrapers. And as I said, if they're the same height or taller, then they will give you -1. And what's important is they give you -1 whatever the level is. So let's say you have a level 5 and around it, it's level 1s, you still get only 1. You don't get, 4, for example. And on the other side, if they are smaller around it, then you get a +1. And then you sum all of these numbers to get to the actual value. We can see it here a bit into practice. Is I have this level 2 here, and you can see that around it, they seem either the same height, right? This one is basically the same height, and this one is higher, level 3. So that's why they're all in, let's say, a red brownish, which means they give you maluses, and there's no green one. So this is a level 2. Is this one a level 1? Yes. If I move this one closer, here should be fine. You will see now this one is green. It is lower, it works. Now to see the exact calculation, if you don't want to do the math yourself, that's of course easy. You over the no panorama, and we can see at the top. So it starts with a level value. So this is a level 2 skyscraper, so you start with 2. And that's going to be important. Remember that, because we're going to talk about this just now. So you start with 2. Then how many smaller ones do we have? So how many greens do we have? We have 1. So we add 1 to it. So we are at 3 now. Then you count how many are the same height or taller. And we can see we're surrounded, right, by 5. So we were at 3, and now we're going to do -5. So it gets to -2. So there's definitely no panorama effect because we are negative. Even 0 would be no panorama effect. 1 would be, once again, the first level, and 5 would be the highest level. So that's, let's see, where do I have, maybe, no, this is a weak one. And this is one thing that honestly, I don't feel is super great, is I would have loved to have some stuff overlay to easily see which one have what type of panorama effect, because this is not easy to see. This one should be fine. Click on the wrong one. Yeah, perfect. So this one is indeed intense. It's not a level 5, it's a level 4, but still. Let's look at the calculation. We start with 4. We have 4 green around, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are now at 8, and there's no color one around, so nothing matters. So we are at 8, which is about 5, so we get the intense one. So this is a bit how the calculation works. And as I was saying, something important to remember is you start with the base value. So what it means is it's a lot easier to get intense on a level 5 because you already start at 5 versus doing it on a level 1, because on a level 1 you start with 1. Right? So, you know, if I put, for example, this level, pretty sure it's a level 5 here on its own, it has nobody smaller, nobody taller, but it starts with level 5, so it starts with 5, sorry, so it is an intense. Versus if I take this level 1 here, I once again put it just on its own, it has a weak 1, because it starts with 1, but it has nothing else. And I think you can also understand that it is actually the best that the level 1 can expect, because you can't have smaller ones than level 1. So you will never have green around a level 1, and you will, as soon as you have something that's taller, you will have negative points, and therefore you will have no panorama effect at all. When you get to level 2, then you can start having you know, panorama effect, because we can take, for example, this level 2 here, surround it with a few level 1s. You see here we're already at strong. If I put another level 1, we should be good. Here it is. So you see we started with 2 already instead of 1, and on top of that we have 3 smallers around, so we get to 5. So that's something to remember, is your level 1 will never get an intense panorama effect versus your level 2 can start. That's, let's say, the first that can. And for level 2, this is actually a huge boost. Because let's look at base population. So your normal investor house without any sort of boosting items for population is 50. Then your normal for level 1 is 75. For level 2, it's 100. For level 3, 125. For level 4, 150. And for level 5, 175. I can just find one that has no panorama effect. It's always when you want panorama effect, you don't find it, and when you don't want, you find it. 175, right? So we go from 50 to 175. That is huge. Of course, to get there, you do need to provide a lot of resources, but still. Now, the panorama effect is actually even bigger, because the panorama effect at its full scale gives you 125. You know, here you can already see we are at level 2, so we're supposed to be only only 100, and we are 225. So it is indeed 125 on top. Sorry, it's the brain freeze. But how do you get this 125? You don't get it sort of for free. You actually do need to provide resources. You can see them at the bottom. You basically get 25 residences if you provide champagne, then 25 if you provide cigar, 25 for chocolate, 25 for steam carriages, and 25 for electricity. It is worth noting that this is actually different in the engineers one. For the engineers one, let me find one that has. Yes, perfect. For this one, it is also 25, but there is actually only 4 goods instead of 5, so the bonus is 100. And this is for glass, coffee, electricity, and light bulbs. So totally different goods than the other one. Why is that important? Well, a key thing, for example, when I was starting to do my let's say min-maxing math, once again, sorry, I'm trying to find one without, yes, perfect. When I was trying to do a bit my math, I was looking at, should I really give all of those things to all of those investors? Is it worth it? And one that definitely didn't seem worth it was the chocolate. Because you can see it is 2 investors out of 175. That's like nothing at all, right? That's basically like 1%, just a bit more than 1%. So for my record, I was like already super happy. I was like, yeah, I can stop doing all chocolates in the new world. That's gonna be a lot of space that I can use. And then this new thing came out where the population that you get from the panorama effect is actually linked to the chocolate. So now if I take a level 5, this one, if you look at the chocolate now, it's actually 27 out of 300, which is almost 10%. And that's a lot more. You go from 1 to 10%. That's definitely very different to consider. Still, if you're thinking a bit about min-maxing, or if you're having trouble, for example, giving all of the goods to your investors or to any other actually level, I'm not just talking about endgame, can be at any time. This is a good trick to really look at which of those goods are giving you, investors or population, or also coins. Right? If you're having trouble with your coins, it's really to look at which one, right? Like this is 27, this is only 8, for example. Do I want to give 8 out of 300? And I'm not saying I'm not going to do it, but this is definitely something you want to look into. Versus these ones are 27, 27, 29, 25. This is a lot more. 15 is not that high. 15 also middle. 10, 10, 15, 15, 5, 5. So this one was definitely not super high. The coffee was at 8. No, so the goal is not to go through all of them, but you get what I'm saying. Is this is something you may want to look into. So this is definitely around the panorama effect. You still have any questions on the panorama effect that maybe I didn't cover? I think I covered everything that is described here. So if you have a question, don't hesitate to share it in the comments below. But now, as promised, let's move to the second part of the video around what I think is the best setup to optimize your panorama effect. Let's move actually to this island here for me to show you a bit, because this is a great example where you're going to see, let's say, long rows of houses, but you're also going to see, in corners, houses that may be alone, or small, lines or things like this, because it actually does matter. There's not a perfect formula that says, just put one level 5, one level 4, one level 5, one level 4. It is a bit more complex than that, but basically the answer is indeed to alternate a bit between level 4 and level 5. I would say there's two ways to do it. If you have long rows like this, with let's say houses on all sides, then it's, per my calculation so far, and if you've found anything else, do tell me. I'd love to hear about it. Is you do have to alternate with 1 5 2 4 1 5 2 4, and then on the adjacent roads you're going to do something similar, but just let's say just how do you explain, like switched a bit, like moved a bit, meaning if my level 5 is here on that row, I'm going to put the level 5 just slightly to the left or to the right on the other row, then 4 and 4 again. So that is the idea on how to do it for those long rows where you have a lot of houses around. It starts to be a lot more complex when you don't have houses all around. For example, this one, has these houses here, but it doesn't have houses there. And that will definitely influence the calculation. And you see it even more when you have something like this row, right? Where it will only have next to it and on one side, not on the other. What is great about this, actually, in that case, is given that you start with a level 5, you have a lot less chances of having lower or same, let's say, same height buildings on the other side. So that enables you to actually put more. For example, you can see, right, this is level 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4. And all of the 5s are perfect intense panorama. So in cases like this, you are able to have even more 5 than usual. And this is even, let's say, truer when you have something like this here, where this one has so few buildings around, it only has those 2, and given that it starts level 5, it's a lot easier to have more level 5, and it's also a lot easier to do that calculation, because if there's only those 2, then it's easy to see I can have one at the same level and one at a lower level. They will cancel each other, and I'm going to stay at level 5. Similarly here, you can quickly see, okay, I am level 5. I'm surrounded by, this one is not in it, right? Where is it? No, it is. Yeah, that's one. So I'm level 5, I'm surrounded by these 6, which means to stay at level 5, I should have 3 that are the same level and 3 lower. So that once again, they cancel each other. That's what's great about the level 5 is skyscrapers, given that they start with a base value of 5. If you want to stay with intense panorama, you just need to sort of cancel that the ones around cancel each other. So for example, here, if you look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why one more green? Because if I had one more gray, then I would be at level 4. The second reason is also when you get to bigger blocks like this, is also what I was mentioning here. You will need 2 4, 4, 1, 5 because of everything that's going around. It's sort of the let's say local optimum is not always the full optimum in that situation, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's there's obviously not a perfect formula, except keeping in mind two things is which are quite easy, is you do 5, 4, 4, 5, 4, 4, 5, and similarly, you do 4, 4, 5, 4, 4, 5, 4, etc. And then when you get into more like corners and rows with only one row instead of two rows, then it's a lot easier to put more kind of here, like 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, and to actually do this optimization yourself of just looking at how many are in green versus gray. So I hope that this helped you to better understand the panorama effect and also to start optimizing your cities. Of course, you definitely don't want to have only level 5s that will create zero panorama effect. And so why do you want that? Let's take here this quick example. We have 6 houses. If you have those 6 skyscrapers at level 4, this is 6 times 150, that is 900 population, right? Now, if you put them all at level 5, they will get 675 per houses times 6, that's 1050, because none of them will get the panorama effect, right? Versus, so we're at 1050. Now, if you have 3 of them at level 4, like we have here, and 3 of them at level 5, you will actually get 1350, so 300 more, because the level 4 will just stay at 150, but the 3 level 5 will get full panorama effect, so they will get 300 each, and therefore get to 900 for that one. So you can see, this is the same space that you're using, right? It's 6 houses, but just with the panorama effect, making it sort of a bit smart, you will get a lot more population density into that area. On top of that, actually also is for all those level 4, you don't even need to give the level 5 goods, right? You don't need to give those goods. So there's also that small bonus in a sense in terms of consumption. Of course, the level 5s, having more population will also consume more, but that's what you want, because at the end of the day, you want the population. So anyway, here it is, ladies and gents. I hope that helped you in terms of better understanding the panorama effect, better understanding the layouts or the optimization that you may want to do. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below or join the Discord community. You can find the link to that Discord community in the description below. If you like this episode, also do press the like button. It really helps to share this video with more people out there that may be interested in it, and also for you to see more of my videos in the future that hopefully you will also like. So hope to see you next time. And